All right, to make our Moto Jacket pattern in Adobe Illustrator, we will need to start with our jacket foundation, which was already developed in the previous lesson. I realize my names are still saying front torso. That should be the front jacket foundation. I'm going to go ahead and remove those titles though, and the back jacket foundation. Same with the sleeve. I'm going ahead and just removing those right now. Before I get into showing you some of the pattern manipulations, let's analyze this sketch. You may not do this exact one. That is fine. I highly recommend that maybe you work your own design. But in general, I think that the things I'm going to show you are what you can do as far as manipulating Illustrator, but according to your design. So what's typical for most Moto jackets is the princess seaming here. It goes from the shoulder to the waist or a waistband. Some jackets go even further down, and you'll notice that it's in line with the princess seam line. It's also the lineup where usually a zipper then is in place for this side of the front. So it becomes kind of a double-breasted front jacket. That is actually also shown in your book, the double-breasted jacket, on page 475. But I'll be making some modifications to the book directions because I'm actually going to be using the princess seam lines as I do this. The book also will describe how you can build a collar once you have reshaped your front as it passes over center front into the other half of the front of the body. You'll need to have that done first before you can use the shape from your neckline. Other details are small things like tabs and such that can be built as like rectangles and things. Sleeves can be divided into two sections. I will actually show that, but I'll record that in a separate video because this could probably get lengthy. This whole lesson will probably be in a multitude of videos as well. So what I have done here is actually taken my foundation pieces. I have my front on one artboard. I made another artboard to put my back on, and then the sleeve has its own artboard, plus an artboard that I put my design on, my line drawing. When I did my line drawing, it started out pretty small when using the croquis, but then in Illustrator, remember, you can just click and hold down the shift key to scale things up to keep it in proportions. And I scale it up large enough that I can kind of picture these shapes over here with my sloper. Now, a few things that we can do to adjust our sloper to begin with. First of all, if I'm going with this design, I know I'm not going to need the full length here. So I could decide to go ahead and shorten it. Whatever I shorten on the front, I shorten on the back. The other thing I am going to actually go ahead and do is get rid of one of my darts. Notice the jacket fits kind of loose through the waist area. By leaving a dart unsewn, basically just not sewing it up, will allow for that loose fit. So I'm going to actually do that on both of the front and the back, removing one dart size. Oops, missed a little line there. Now I also want to move this dart over a little bit. I'm going to use my shift and keyboard arrow keys to kind of nudge that. Same thing now, I'm going to collect the bust point and that, and just moving it just slightly more because I'm picturing what do I want that distance from center front on over and then over to the side. Now, in my drawing, you have to think part of this side is extending away from us as the viewer underneath the arm. But I liked the way that this lines up. I'll be extending my line from there down to here, through here, and on over. So that's ready. My grain line, I can just move out to the side for a minute. And then on the back, I'm going to use my back dart as part of my princess guideline, as well as then I need this shifted over so it's kind of in line with that. So I'm just eyeballing this right now. Even though that's slightly angled, I think that's all right. We're going to be fine and work with that. Next thing, we'll save the sleeve for something else. All right. What else can we get ready here? Tell you what, I'll focus on the back first because I can do a simple split for the style line, and then that's really it. Oh, I know. We needed to shorten the jacket. Now, if this is about my waist, I do want some distance below the waist. So what if we were to say 1, 2, 3, 4 inches up from the bottom here is where I will set a line across here to there. And I don't think I'm right on that line. I am not. So tell you what, let me move that up just a little bit so it's on that line. The other thing that I want to do is actually move this point over just a little bit. I'm using this just as a guideline to sort of see where I'm going to then add points on my slope or perimeter. There we go. And then I can cut those points. That way I can get rid of this bottom area real quick. Make sure I have that selected, not my other part, and delete it. Oops. How did I not? Oh, I think that is on a different layer. We can delete that too. Okay. So now that was 4 inches up that I did that. So we'll come over here and do it to the back. 4 inches. Use my line segment. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's okay that it's going to cut through that dart right there. That's fine. We will be locking that layer. We will be splitting the piece here. There we go. Splitting the back at that dart, so that's fine. It'll be just slightly apart there. And my cut tool, there we go. Cut and cut. Make sure my lower part is the one I want to delete. There we go. And for now, I don't think I made that, so let's zoom out for a moment. There we go. Now I have my shortened body. It's a little bit more in proportion to what I think my jacket looks like here, as well as my sleeve will then be longer than the jacket in proportion to what we see here. Let me go ahead and do a file save as. Remember that you don't want to use your foundation file, you want to protect that. So make sure you change this to the assignment, which would be the Moto Jacket. And keep your initials or your name in the file name and such. Alright, so we have that in place. Now then, another cut spot we're going to go ahead and do. We want to cut this dart at that point, and same with, oops, but not on the, okay. What's going on there? Let me zoom in and let's read that message one more time. What I'm doing, I'm trying to click here and it's saying use the scissor tool on a segment or an anchor point. So it's got to have segments on either side, but not on an end point. And notice that it's highlighting the line down the middle of the dart. That's because it was the last thing drawn. It is in front of the point for the dart that I'm trying to get to. So let's do this. We're going to click on that. We want to arrange it by bringing it forward. So arrange, bring to front. Now let's see if we can cut that point. Yes, we can because it's in front of the line. Great. That's what we want there. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is draw a line from this point. Whoops. Cancel. Remember with the segment, you click, hold, and drag down to that point. All right. When using the segment point tool or line tool, it does not connect. If I was using the pen tool, it would connect, but I don't really want it to connect just yet. The other thing I want to do is arc this line just a little bit, I can put an anchor point there. Then I can pull that anchor point out, and I can also curve that anchor point by doing this and pulling my lines out just a little bit. I just want it slightly arced, not too much though. All right, that might be a little more than I want, so I can still shift that in just a little. There we go. Okay, we'll split it apart and see how it looks. Okay, the other thing that we need to do here is split these lines apart. Let's go ahead and deselect this bottom line. Let's connect it across here from this point to that point, and I can tell by the icons next to my pen what I'm doing, and then I want a anchor point added right here and right here. Now I need to cut those. So cut that one and cut that one. All right, let me zoom out. So we've got several of those. Here's another thing I want to show you. Whenever we're going to cut with a style line, I'm going to make 2 copies of the style line here. Actually, we have one other thing we need to do, and that is a set of notches, right? So we have that notch, and I'm going to repeat that notch with another one. There we go. That way when I separate these, it'll be fine. But to do that, we're going to click and hold drag so we get that one line segment and those 2 notches. We're going to copy them, and then we're going to paste it right in front, right where this is. We need 2 pieces so that when I select and split my across the style line and divide the back into 2 pieces, I have a matching line on either one of them. So to paste right in front, it is the Command or Control key and the letter F. So that is already selected. To add to my selection, I am going to hold the Shift key down and use my selection tool. And I want to get that half of that dart and these little guys here. Oops. Okay, they're grouped, I think. So I got them both. Now, just in case I needed to bring something back, I'm just going to use my Shift keys to shift things. Oh, I'm sorry, the Shift and arrow keys to shift this piece over. Okay, I don't want to carry it too far. Now, you'll notice it left these parts of the dart there on the inner parts. That's fine. I don't need that, and I don't need that. Now I would have a somewhat fitted back or shaped back by using that style line, by having a double copy of this segment of the line and the notches. When I split it, it looks as one piece, and that would be fine, except that when I begin to go and put my seam allowance around things, I won't get a complete fluid seam allowance. So let's go up here and see if we can join some of our spots here. I am trying to find, let's first find where this point is, and I'm just going to separate that point by just a couple taps with the arrow keys. Now I can see the gap and I can see where I can join it. Now let's move down here. I think there is another point. Operation because of an unknown error. Okay, what's going on? All right, it does not want to seem to. Great, why is my computer now freaking out? All right, tell you what, I will figure this out. We will come back and resume our development up the front in another video because this one's getting a little lengthy. But you can see how you can split a piece. Make sure you have whatever object that you need to put points on in the top of the stacking order that you can arrange, bring to front. That's under objects. Once you have put a point in a place you need to cut, or if there's already an existing point, use your scissors tools to cut things. Then if you're going to have a shared style line that needs to stay with both pieces, make sure you make any copies of that style line, paste in front. That way it when you click on it to select it, the only one stacked in front is the only one you're going to get a hold of, and then the other parts of the object that need to move, you can move all together. All right, so pausing now for end of this video, and we'll pick up on another one.